How in the world can I negotiate for the lowest price when I'm trying to buy a business? What's your secret tips? So I'm Jeramiah Townsend, business broker advisor, and in this video today, I'm sharing with you 5 specific tips that you can use when negotiating to try to get the lowest or best price on a business. As always, like and subscribe to the video. Please leave a comment. That way I can provide better content for you. So the first thing, if you're interested in buying a business and not getting raked over the coals, the first thing is you have to be realistic. Number one, be realistic. Being realistic is the most important part about negotiating. If you're not being realistic about what a seller will take, and you think that he should give you everything on a golden platter and just hand it to you and not take any money in return, you're just not going to even get there. You're not even ready to negotiate. So be realistic and at least make sure you're saying, look, I'm going to come and give you proper value for your business. Number two, when they have an asking price, do not offer 10 cents on the dollar. That is a surefire way. That is a surefire way to just shut down the conversation. I'm not saying you can't offer a little bit less, but what I am saying is you need to keep the conversation going. I don't even worry about the LOI in the very beginning. I say, hey, if this is in the right ballpark range, maybe the owner is asking 4x for his business, which would be 4 times annual seller's discretionary earnings or 4 times EBITDA. The business might be worth that. And that's not negotiation, just saying in a letter of intent, saying, well, I'm only going to pay you 3x. You haven't gotten to negotiations yet. You're just getting in the door to start negotiations. So I really recommend it. Do not underbid your LOI. Just put it out there that if the business is worth what they're asking, you'll absolutely pay for it based on due diligence. And then when you get into due diligence, that's where we're going to come to point number 3. When you get into due diligence, you can start looking at the business and you can do the research, hire an advisor such as myself. I'll be able to tell you what the average multiple for a business in that industry and that type of business will sell for. I will be able to look at those financials and say, well, this business is underperforming or it's overperforming, and the averages in this industry. So we'll be able to look at a lot of those things. We have a lot of data sources to compare that to, and that gives you leverage so you can say, well, I know you said you wanted 4 times, and if the business was doing well, I'd absolutely give that to you, but help me out here. The average in this industry is about 2.5 times. And you're asking 4 times. So you're asking 40% above market value for your business. And if we can find that reason why, I'm more than happy to give you that extra 40% above market. But can you help justify for me why you want 40% over market value? So make sure to do that due diligence and give it back on the owner and say, I have no problem paying this. Just, can you show me or explain to me why this business is worth this value above and beyond market price that you're asking? The 4th thing you can do is understand the seller's motivations. I can't stress this enough. Listen for those cues. Just let the owner talk and say, good business. Well, what can you tell me about it? And then let them talk, let them explain the business. They might start rambling on about why they're selling. And if they don't, ask them, well, why are you selling? And just be quiet and let them answer why they're selling. The owner, you might find they're not motivated whatsoever. You might find they're highly motivated. And in that case, that's a great opportunity for you to say, look, you have to sell the business in the next 30 days for whatever reason. You have to sell the business in the next 30 days. I get that. I can come in and buy this company, but I'm not going to be able to give you full price up front for your business. within the next 30 days because it has to go through financing. And going through all that financing, that takes several months to get through. At a minimum, we're usually 60 days just to get through the financing. We have 30 to 60 days for initial due diligence, and then 30 to 60 days for financial review through the banks and financing. And I'll give those finances to the bank, but we could be 3 to 4 months out, maybe even further, to get the financing in place. Help me out here. I want to close in 30 days like you want to. So what if we do it in this fashion? And that leads us into point number 5, is negotiating terms. One of the best ways to negotiate for the lowest price is not to argue about price, but to negotiate terms. So let's say that they really do want 4 times earnings and their business is worth 2 times earnings. But let's say at the same time that you can buy the company with no cash out of pocket or a very low down payment. So you can say, hey, look, I know you want 4 times earnings. It just doesn't really justify that. The business justifies 2 times earnings based off of all these national data markers. But I tell you what, I'll pay you 3 times earning and close in the next 30 days. If you're willing to carry the note, you carry the note for me and we can look at refinancing this business process, but you're going to get cash flow starting day 1. So you're going to be making money on this day 1 and you don't have to worry about that. I'll be honest, yes, that conversation does work for some sellers. I had a seller who was going through some very hard financial hardships because of health reasons in his family. I was able to make that offer and boom, it took off and the seller said, thank you so much. This is exactly what I need. I don't really need the money. I just need this off of my shoulders. It's too much of a weight on me to handle, and I'm going to close the business otherwise. So I was able to go in there and make an acquisition and help everybody out. But sometimes you negotiate the terms and not the price. And as the old saying goes, if they get their price, I get my terms. If I get my terms, they get their price. But it's honestly a negotiation through both. There are other ways that you can negotiate the lowest price. You can seek professional advice from someone such as myself. I can help negotiate on your behalf. And that is very, very helpful for a lot of people, having somebody else do the negotiations. Sometimes we get wrapped up emotionally in these things and we say the wrong thing because we're emotionally upset about something the seller says. So you hire a professional to negotiate on your behalf. Sometimes you need to consider alternative financing options and methodologies for negotiating the lowest price. For example, the SBA you might think it's a surefire way to use SBA financing to buy the business, and it could be, but then the SBA is going to require slightly higher variable interest usually, and it might be a 10% interest rate, whereas the owner might carry the note on a 5% interest rate, which again goes back to terms, some alternative financing. You might have somebody else who will lend you some of the money for the down payment at a lower interest rate, or even finance the whole purchase at a lower interest rate. So there are a lot of ways that you can negotiate the lowest price when you're buying a business. It's not always about the top line price. Sometimes it's about terms, but remember, don't get hung up on the LOI, on the letter of intent. Be a realist and don't grossly underbid a project because that just shuts down the seller. Be open, be honest in your communications, and make sure to just carefully walk through that process to make a win-win scenario. I'm Jeramiah Townsend, business broker advisor. I wish you all the best in buying and selling companies. If you're interested in talking to me, reach out, but please like and share the video, leave a comment so I know how I can best help you in buying and selling companies. We'll see you later.